All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the profound Eastern philosophical relationship between the cosmos, the invisible force of time, and, well, our ultimate purpose. We're going to explore some of the absolute core teachings regarding heaven, earth, time, and the intricate, beautiful dance of yin and yang. And look, this isn't just about dusty ancient history. It's about understanding the very fabric of the reality we live in right now and figuring out exactly where we fit into the whole shebang.
There's this amazing quote that completely sets the stakes for us right out of the gate. Just take a second to absorb the weight of this. A universe without time, which is represented by the sun and the moon here, is a complete void. It's just an empty shell. And on the flip side, time flowing all on its own without human consciousness to actually perceive and understand it, that's nothing more than empty shadows. It tells us that everything is deeply interconnected. Neither the cosmos nor time means anything without us here to complete the picture.
So, to demystify these massive concepts, here's our roadmap. We're going to cover the birth of heaven and earth, the invisible energy of time, those dual laws of yin and yang, how astronomy acts as a cosmic clock, and finally, humanity's ultimate role.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the birth of heaven and earth and the initial separation of the cosmos.
So how did it all start? Well, in Eastern philosophy, before anything existed, there was just this singular, massive block of energy. To create the reality we actually inhabit, that singularity had to be divided into yin and yang, into heaven and earth, and it took an unfathomable amount of divine energy to split it into a working system. The source text described the sheer force required for this as ro sung, which translates to a celestial, thunder-like electrical force. We aren't talking about the electricity that powers your coffee maker, right? This is a profound cosmic energy that literally tore the static void into a functioning, dualistic universe. And this gives us the ultimate division of labor. Once the universe was split, heaven and earth didn't just sit around. They each got a highly specific job. Heaven acts as the grand scheduler. It determines the seasons, the timing, the when of it all. This is what's known as the heavenly way. Earth, on the other hand, represents earthly virtue. Earth is the physical executor. So, when heaven signals that it's spring, Earth does the heavy lifting. The seeds sprout, the flowers bloom. The physical world reacts entirely to heaven's schedule.
Which brings us to Section 2, the invisible energy of time, the master mechanism of the universe.
In Eastern cosmology, time is absolutely not just ticking seconds on a watch. It's a highly subjective, dynamic energy that breathes actual life into the entire system. We usually think of time as a rigid, objective line. But hey, even Einstein told us time is relative. If you're sitting with someone totally boring, an hour feels like a literal eternity. But if you're having fun, time just flies. That's because time is actually G, a flowing, circulating life force energy. Without this invisible energy circulating through the cosmos, heaven and earth would be completely paralyzed. And this energy, it cycles through an inescapable four-step absolute order: birth, growth, harvest, and rest. You can see it playing out perfectly in the four seasons. Spring gives birth, summer grows, autumn harvests, and winter rests. This isn't just a pattern, it's a cosmic law. It's an absolute order that nobody, no matter how rich or powerful, can avoid. It's the righteous, inescapable flow of the universe.
To make this massive, abstract concept of time a bit more relatable, ancient teachings use the number 12, specifically the 12th zodiac animal, the cow, as the ultimate symbol for the 12 months and the profound energy of time itself. You might walk into a traditional temple, see a painting of a white cow, and wonder, what on earth does that mean? Well, explaining invisible time energy to people thousands of years ago was incredibly difficult. So philosophers used the 12th month, represented by the cow in the zodiac, to basically act as the class president for all the months. The cow became the visual, physical stand-in for the mighty, circulating power of time.
Moving right along to Section 3, the dual laws of yin-yang, the dance of space and flow.
Now here is a fascinating distinction. Historically, there isn't just one yin-yang rule, there are actually two. We generally picture yin and yang as a single symbol, but traditionally there is the left taiji and the right taiji. One governs physical space, that's the pairing of direct opposites like heaven and earth, male and female, inside and outside. That is the structural foundation of reality. The other taiji governs the flowing cycle of time, how day naturally turns into night, how yang peaks at noon and then slowly gives birth to yin, which peaks at midnight. That one is all about dynamic movement.
Basically, everything in existence needs both. You need the left taiji hardware of space and the right taiji software of time to make a functioning universe. You can't just have opposites sitting next to each other doing nothing. They have to interact, they have to flow into one another. The hardware of heaven and earth desperately needs the software of time to actually accomplish anything. Let's look at how we figured this out in Section 4. Astronomy as the cosmic clock. Cosmos versus cosmetics. This is where we see a huge paradigm shift. Western astronomy usually focuses on the physical hardware of the stars, calculating exactly how massive Jupiter is or the exact distance to a faraway galaxy. But Eastern astronomy, it uses the stars merely as a tool to read the invisible software of time. It isn't so much about the glowing balls of gas themselves, but the invisible energy and order that those stars are pointing to. And check out this linguistic connection. It's actually mind-blowing. The word cosmetics literally comes from the word cosmos, which means order. Why? Well, you can't see the abstract concept of time. To make this invisible order visible, the universe decorated the sky with stars. Just like makeup highlights invisible beauty, the stars are the cosmetics of the universe. They are a decoration placed up in the sky, acting as the hands of a giant clock so we can literally see time passing.
So who actually decoded this for us? It was Emperor Yao, who originally taught humanity how to read this decorated cosmic clock. He aligned heaven's 28 constellations with Earth's 24 solar terms, so humans could finally farm and thrive. Before this, humans were essentially just blindly foraging, right? But once they understood that heaven's constellations perfectly mapped onto Earth's agricultural seasons, they cracked the code of the universe. They figured out exactly when to plant and when to harvest. They unlocked the immense physical bounty of the Earth just by reading the schedule written in the sky.
This brings us to our final act, Section 5, Humanity's Ultimate Role, Completing the Universe.
Because think about it, a clock is entirely 100% useless if there's no one there to read it. Think back to our opening quote, time and space are just an empty shadow without humanity. Humans are the only beings capable of understanding both yin and yang perfectly. Heaven has its role, Earth has its role, for sure, but without a conscious observer to understand the schedule and reap the physical harvest, the entire system is completely pointless. We are the ultimate readers of the cosmic clock.
And this is where our role evolves in a major way. In the past, human beings simply observed. We figured out the constellations and the seasons, and we adapted our farming to it. We played along. That was the old way. But the source text reveals a massive shift for the future. We are moving from just passively observing the universe to actively mastering its power. We are stepping into a phase where humanity doesn't just watch the clock, but actually grasps the authority of heaven and inherits the boundless energy of the earth. So the crucial takeaway here is that humanity is not just some random byproduct of the cosmos. We are its completion. This marks the transition into what is called the Age of Humanity. We are literally destined to inherit the energy of this grand cosmic clockwork. All those billions of years of heaven acting as the scheduler and earth executing the physical labor, all of that was just preparation. It was building up an immense energy, a power that humanity is ultimately meant to inherit and master.
I'll leave you with this question to ponder. How will you step up and grasp your active role in this incredible universe? We aren't just passengers on a rock flying through space. We are the consciousness that gives the entire universe its meaning. We are meant to step into the ultimate authority of heaven and earth. So think about that the next time you look up at the stars. Thanks so much for hanging out for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.